This video is part 2 of building the nominal test case using Zuzena. In this part, we will focus upon the test case container and its metadata tags. First, we will create the test case container. We will show you how to give it metadata tags so the individual test case becomes part of a test suite. We will finish by showing you how to run a test suite, both from within the Zuzena graphic user interface and from within a scheduling utility. Zuzena is a testing engine designed for data warehouses and other data-driven applications. The previous video in this series introduced the features an automated test engine must have, and it described the nature of the nominal test case we'll be building. In a nominal test case, we evaluate whether the data application performs as expected when given data that meets expected norms and should load properly. Other types of test cases will test how the application responds when confronted with challenges such as missing data. The overview video for the nominal test case also described the source data and the target schema we will be using in this test case, as well as the data transforms that move data from source to target. At the end of this presentation, we will display links connecting you to the other videos in the series. As we discussed in the previous video, one uses the Zuzena graphic user interface to build a test case. While you're tuning the definition of the test case, you can execute it from within the GUI. Once the test case performs as you expect, you can then employ that test case for automated testing by calling Zuzena via an operating system command or from a scheduling tool such as cron or Jenkins. No matter how you ask Zuzena to execute a test case, it always looks for source data to stage, ETL to call, and then finally a target schema with new data to evaluate for pass or fail. We need a place to declare all these components. That's the purpose of the test case container. We can call the test case in a container individually, but one of Zuzena's most important features is that it allows you to call the test case as part of a test suite. Metadata tags allow you to group the test cases into test suites using shared attributes such as the test cases, architectural layer, data class, focal error type, and represented time points. For example, instead of executing test cases one at a time, you can configure Zuzena to start at 1 a.m. every morning and execute all your warehouse tests that focus upon the mid-month social networking feeds for your big data staging layer. Now let's start building a test case. First, we go to Zuzena's main menu and select the Add hyperlink next to Test Cases. Enter the short name or code that you'll use to reference this test case. Give it a description, too. As you can see in this example, we'll build a test case that tests an incremental load for the Billings data mart. You can leave default values in the other controls, such as active, production, and run order. Next, we will describe the aspects of this test case that will make it part of a test suite. We declare these aspects by giving this test case some user-defined metadata tags. Find the section for test case aspects towards the bottom of the screen. Press on the green plus sign next to Add another TSR test case aspect. That will add a line for your first metadata tag. Use the pull-down menu to select which metadata tag type you want to add. In this case, architectural layer. Now give this metadata tag a value of presentation. We will use this tag value to group together test cases that focus upon the presentation or star schema portion of our data warehouse. Click on the green plus sign next to Add another TSR test case aspect to add a second metadata tag. This time, select the data class type and give it a value of relational, so we can later test the ETL that transforms relational data separately from the ETL that operates on semi-structured information. Next, add an error class metadata tag and give it a value of nominal. This will allow us to run all the nominal test cases separately from those that test the application's response to, say, situations involving missing or poorly formatted inputs. Finally, give the test case a time point. Here, we'll give it a value of January 7, 2001, which is the date that the teams building this data warehouse has chosen to be one of its mid-month incremental data loads. With the metadata tags entered, you can press on the Save button at the upper left of the screen to write the new test case in the Zuzena repository. Saving the test case will bring up the test script listing. You can see our new test case in the middle of the list. Because it hasn't run yet, there's no pass or fail indicator to its left. Now this empty test case is just a container. It doesn't have any action steps declared, so there's no point in running it now. But if you did want the Zuzena GUI to execute this new test, you would simply select the case by checking the box next to its ID along the left side of the screen. Then you'd use the pull-down menu for Actions to select one of the Run commands, such as Run Immediate. Finally, you'd hit Go, and Zuzena would attempt to run the test case. Refresh the screen and you'll see the outcome of the test. We'll see test execution in more detail during the next few videos when we start adding components for staging data or executing ETL. Now that you know how to create an individual test case, let's gather up some existing test cases into a test suite. Let's say we gather a set of cases that demonstrates how well our data warehouse can capture semi-structured information when there's formatting or semantic errors in the incoming data stream. From Zuzena's main menu, click on Test Cases by Aspect. That choice will bring up an unfiltered listing of the test cases in your repository. Now use the Filter pull-down to see a menu containing the major metadata tags configured for your particular Zuzena implementation. First, set the filter to show only test cases specific for the landing area of our warehouse. Next, extend the filter to focus upon the semi-structured data. Finally, add an additional constraint to narrow the list down to just test cases that validate the ETL for dirty data. Zuzena now displays just the test cases that meet those three conditions. In order to have the Zuzena GUI execute this entire test suite, check the box next to the ID label at the upper left of the screen. That action will select all the tests that are currently filtered and showing on your monitor. Again, select a Run command from the Action pull-down menu and select Go. When the screen refreshes, you'll see a message saying the Zuzena engine has queued the test cases for execution. Remember that Zuzena has both a graphic user interface and a separate execution engine. We can now ask the Zuzena GUI to display the command we should submit to the test engine in order to run the test suite displayed on the screen. Go to the Action pull-down and select Display Batch Commands, and then hit Go. Zuzena opens a window in which it displays two versions of the command you want. You can submit either version to the operating system directly or via a scheduling tool. We usually cut and paste the first version. It identifies a test suite based upon the metadata tag values that we used to filter the set using the GUI. The other version will accomplish the same thing, but it identifies all the test case IDs that make up the suite, as you can see by the comma-delimited list of numbers on the last line in the window. Here's what it looks like to execute that test suite from the operating system command line. Let's use the first version of the command that identifies the test case set using metadata tags. First, we paste in the command that we copied from the window in the GUI. Then we hit the Enter key. After a second or two, the operating system responds to let us know that the command was successfully submitted to Zuzena's execution engine. Now that we know the command works, we can turn to our scheduling utility and paste the same character string into a job card for automatic execution on a regular basis. The second video about building a sample test case demonstrated how to achieve 4 important elements using Zuzena. First, we use the graphical user interface to create the test case container, which will later hold the commands for staging, execution, and evaluation actions that the test case will need. Second, we assign metadata tags to the test case so that users and schedulers will be able to execute many different test cases together as a single test suite. Third, we filter the repository using metadata tags to have a test suite displayed on the screen. We ask the GUI to show us the command that would cause the Zuzena test engine to execute that exact set of test cases. Fourth, we copied and pasted the test suite into a command line to confirm that our test engine will understand it and perform the action requested. There are several remaining videos in this series. The next video will explain how to add data staging commands to the test case so that Zuzena can successfully find the starting data for your test case and place it where the ETL engine will find it. Use the links on this page to open other videos in this series. Be sure to contact us with questions concerning test automation for data warehousing, business intelligence, and big data application development. Thanks for watching this screencast, and good luck with your projects.